What is going on, guys? Joey Suggs here. Welcome to today's video. Welcome to my garage gym. And if you've been following the channel at all, you know that I have been working out exclusively in my garage gym for about 2.5 years now. Zero gym membership. This is where I train every day. And the bulk of my equipment has stayed pretty much the same for a while now until this huge upgrade right behind me. And what this is the Mikolo Anubis 2.0 Ultimate with their Bastet 2.0 bench. And this thing is an absolute beast. Now, I've been using this setup for the past 3 weeks or so, and I'm gonna go over everything I've found from the pros, the cons, the setup, the pricing, the add-ons, what you should do if you're in a situation that I was in, and hopefully answer any questions you have about the machine behind me. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the review of this absolute tank of a machine. So first things first, the previous piece of equipment I had in here, I had been using pretty much the entire time I had my home gym. There were definitely some flaws. It was a good piece of equipment, but when Mikolo reached out and wanted to send me this setup right here, it was an absolute yes. There's so many benefits and upgrades compared to what I previously had that we're gonna go over that definitely make this a next level machine, and I think still at a very budget friendly price. And then of course comes with some consequences, some drawbacks we'll discuss as well. All right, so let's just cover a few specs of this machine. So overall dimensions, I'll actually put it up on the screen for you as well, but it is 91.6 inches tall. It's 46.7 inches deep, and that's without the safety big spotter arms. And it's 80 inches wide, and that's because that's the length of the Smith machine. Something very important to note, 91.6 inches tall. Most of the budget all-in-one racks like this behind me are like 85 to like 88 inches tall, and I'm 6'5". So it's always been an issue for me to get full stretches on machines and be able to get like the cables over my head. I'll talk about it later, but I haven't had that issue with this one, and that's a huge plus and a pro right away. Now the uprights on the machine are 3x3 inches, 12 gauge steel. You have 1-inch holes spaced out every 2 inches. And that means a couple different things. One, the 1-inch holes and the 3x3 uprights make it extremely versatile, because that's what most standard racks are, and you're able to use a lot of third-party attachments, which goes a long way when you plan on having this piece of equipment and slowly adding on new attachments and fun gadgets to try out over time. Another great design feature and a nice little storage component is this middle bar that goes through the machine. Also allows you to store some of your attachments with those same 1-inch holes. The only negative about this setup that I can think of is it's 12 gauge steel instead of 11 gauge steel. And that's what some of the highest end racks are using. I work in structural steel for a living. There's not much difference. And I can tell you personally, there is no issues with durability and strength of the steel on this thing. All right, I wanna quickly talk about shipping and building. So this is like my, I would say, third time maybe building a rack. The shipping time's flawless. I think it was like 5 to 7 days, if that. It came in a bunch of boxes. I think it came in like 9 separate boxes, and then the bench just came in 1 box by itself, but a total of 10 boxes getting delivered to your door. A lot of boxes, but I will say this was much more simple to set up and build than previous all-in-one racks that I've had. All right, but now let's jump into some of the pros of the rack, what I've found over using it the past few weeks, and some things that I didn't have in my previous all-in-one rack that I really was missing out on after using something like this. And the first one, it's a basic one, it's a quick one, but it's the pull-up bar. Like I stated earlier, having those almost 92-inch racks means a lot for someone who is 6'5". Not only was I like kind of banging into my previous all-in-one rack, I would definitely have to like bend my knees fully to be able to do a full pull-up. Don't have that issue here. There's a plethora of different grips on the pull-up bar, and it has some nice knurling on there as well. So I'm not too worried about slipping on my grip. So moving back from the pull-up bar, let's talk about the Smith machine. Now there are 3 different options of this all-in-one rack, the Anubis rack, the 2.0. You can get the standard version, which has no Smith machine and no full weight stacks. It just has weight horns to put the weight on. Then there is the Elite, which has the weight stacks, still no Smith machine. And then if you get the Ultimate, which is what I feel like I have to have, I use a Smith machine all the time. That is the one that has the weight stacks and the Smith machine. So speaking on the Smith machine, there are sometimes issues with Smith machines. One, them not being level, like the weight is not equal on both sides. And then two, they get kind of jumpy or stoppy as they go up and down on the rails. Neither of those issues are present with this machine. As you're building it, you notice the sleeves on the rails that go up and down the Smith machine have a ton of ball bearings in there and are very well greased. So over time, it's gonna be smoother and smoother as well. So no issues there at all. The weight being balanced is something I've struggled with on multiple all-in-one racks that I've had. Was very happy to see that there was none of that here. And another pro that I have not seen a lot of Smith machines do well, especially when they're incorporated in an all-in-one rack, is a good range of motion. This one isn't the absolute best on the low end, but it is very, very good on the high end. You get up to about, I wanna say like 6'2", 6'3", as far as clearance going up. And then on the low end, plenty enough room to be able to do RDLs. And they did not have to sacrifice having your safety spotters there as well. Those are still present, still very easy to use, and they work just as they should. Now let's move back from the Smith machine and talk about probably my favorite thing about this rack, but most all-in-one racks, and that's the cable functionality. So a couple spec items, you're getting all aluminum pulleys. This is a weight stack version, and there is 175 pounds per side. Now that is much higher than what I had on my previous rack, and it goes a very, very long way. Another great add that I think is so simple to do, and I'm really happy that they did it, they just added a little 5-pound adder increment that you can put on top of the weight stack. I leave mine on most of the time, but if I want to take it off, make it a little lighter for some exercises, I definitely can. And so you get a full 175 pounds. And what's also really nice is the pounds go up in 10-pound increments. There's some that go up by like 11 or they go up by random numbers, and it's just way easier when they're in easy to remember 10-pound increments. That being said, if you want to beef it up even more, they offer an additional 60 pounds per side. So if you go that route, which is a simple add-on on the website, you get 235 pounds. Now that is at a 2-to-1 ratio, but that's quite a bit of weight, and you don't lose very much cable travel either because it is a 2-to-1 ratio. Another huge pro, I'm gonna keep coming back to this because this is one of the biggest pros for me. The machine is almost 92 inches. Now what that means is I'm able to get a full range of motion when doing lat pull downs. It has been so, well, I mean, it's been since I stopped training in a commercial gym that I've been able to do full range of motion pull downs without sitting on the floor or like getting into like a weird position or anything like that. I can literally sit on the Bastet 2.0, use the 3-in-1 leg pad attachment, which we'll talk about later, and I can get full range of motion reps on lat pull downs, no problem at all. Now, another pro I want to talk about, and this really speaks to the durability and the overall design of the machine, is these engineered spotter arms that they have. This is no joke. They are heavy, yes, don't get me wrong. They're kind of annoying to move around, but when you put them on the rack, when you're actually wanting to use them, say for squats or something like that, they're not going anywhere. The mechanism they have to lock onto the machine in 2 different points and then bring that third leg or second leg down and hit the ground so that you have that extra point of contact there goes a long way for the durability and the sturdiness of it. And for things like squats or maybe like incline bench, definitely nice to have, especially if you're training alone in a gym or something along those lines. Now, I do want to talk about my favorite attachment of all of them, and that is this 3-in-1 leg pad. So this does a couple different things, and that is one, supporting your knees on lat pull downs. This is a nice, big, thick, durable pad that I can easily get my knees or legs under and won't go anywhere during the workout. It also attaches with 2 1-inch pins, so you don't get any swaying from left to right or up and down either. Then when you're done with lat pull downs and want to go to low rows, all you have to do is move the leg pad pin facing forward, and within seconds, you have a foot plate to press against. And I like how this attachment is offset too. So you have a nice gap between the rack upright and where your legs or knees are going. That creates some separation, makes it easier for the pulling movements. Now you can also use this as a step up. I haven't really used it too much for that, but if it's rated for it, it can definitely handle it. And so on my next leg day, maybe I'll give it a shot. And I also wanted to point out as a pro, the pegboard on the back. I'm not really used to, or as I'm still getting used to, how I want to organize everything. I'm a big tinkerer, part of the reason I have a home gym. But the pegboard offers pretty much endless solutions for hanging all your accessories that one, come with the machine, and then two, anything you add along the way, because there's always gonna be new fun things that you wanna try out. Speaking of attachments, this is actually gonna lead me into my cons on this machine that I've found. The attachments are kinda I mean, like I said, I like to build my own attachments or find new unique attachments over time, but the ones they give are pretty basic. A little plasticky, the machining isn't great on them, the knurling's actually pretty good, but everything else is just so. I wouldn't be buying this machine for the added attachments you're getting. Besides the safety arms, that is, I think those are definitely the highlight when it comes to the attachments. The J-cups are nice, but nothing crazy by any means. And I did have an issue actually where my pins were not magnetic, so I went on Amazon and ordered some magnetic pins to put in there. And that's not the only thing I've ordered on Amazon, which we'll get to a little later on. Now this next con is, well, it's not really a con, but it was a I wish list. So they offer the Anubis Elite and the Standard in red, the same color as the Bastet 2.0 bench. And I have a little bit of like a red and black and blue theme going on in this gym, and it would have been really nice to get this in that red color, especially I think it looks, the color of the Bastet 2.0 is a little darker red, has a little metallic in it. It's really pretty, and I wish this rack came in there. And I will say the powder coating on this rack isn't quite up to standard with elite brand racks that you see. The powder coating isn't quite up to par. I already have a couple chips in my powder coating, and I can't imagine it's gonna get any better with time. Now, this is definitely another wish list item, and given the budget machine, totally makes sense why this wasn't incorporated in this one, but I really am looking forward to a day when I can get an add-on to this maybe, and have the adjustable pulley arms that come out, so that way you get a little wider than just your standard width of your rack. You see a lot of the like high-end 3 times as much as this machine equipment doing that, but to bring it down to a budget all-in like this would be an incredible add to see. Now, like I said, we're gonna mention some things I bought on Amazon just to make the rack a little better, or things that I feel like it needed. There were 2 things besides the magnetic pins for the J-cups, and that was horns. So I ordered gym pins on Amazon because yes, they do go up to 175 pounds, and yes, you can get the extra 60 pounds, which probably would solve most of my problems. But for me, the 2 main exercises, lat pull downs and low rows, I like to stack on some weight. So the 175 pounds at the 2-to-1 ratio just wasn't enough. And now some racks do have the shoe horns on the side. There's pros and cons to that, because sometimes you put the weight on and then it skews the thing and it doesn't move very smoothly. The gym pin is a really good way of doing it that I've found. You just put the gym pin on, you add whatever weight you want, you clamp it, and you should be good to go for the most part. Now, like I said, when you buy an all-in-one rack, of course you want it to be all-in-one, but that was one thing that I decided to pick up on Amazon because for me, I needed the extra weight. And then the second thing that I decided to buy were the weight holder pins. I enjoy having the weight stacked at the back of my rack, so that way I can quickly access it when I'm switching out weight and I work out with a partner a lot of the times and we're changing weight back and forth. It's nice to have it just right there. And I ended up buying 8 of these, which may be a little overkill, but I really enjoy having the storage on the back. And I was kind of honestly a little worried about putting so much weight at the back of the rack. No issues at all with like any kind of tipping over. I've like pushed on this thing, hasn't moved at all. So that's a really good sign as far as the durability, but it didn't come with these little weight horns directly from the website. So that was something else I went on Amazon and just picked up myself. But all in all, there's my pros, there's my cons. I am so happy to have this in my gym. It's a huge upgrade to what I had, and this is gonna allow me to train much more efficiently. And I look forward to training on this thing every day. I wanna quickly talk about pricing, and then we're gonna talk about the Bastet 2.0 bench. So for the Anubis 2.0, there's a couple different pricing options, and it's gonna be a little different depending on Black Friday sale, after Black Friday sale, with a discount code, without a discount code. I'm gonna have everything linked down below for you, so make sure you check that out. It's gonna be the first link in the description, but as of right now, before any major discounts, if you get the standard version, so that is no Smith machine and weight horns and no weight stack, it's $1,600. And then if you decide to go for the Elite version, you one can get the red in that color, highly would recommend that, but you also get the weight stacks, still no Smith machine, and that one is $24.99. And then if you want the exact same rack that I have behind me, then absolute beast, the Anubis Ultimate 2.0, that one is at $26.99 right now. By far still on the budget end, and then what they've been able to do considering the budget is pretty impressive. All right, so we've talked about the main star of the show, in my opinion, the Anubis 2.0, but what about its little companion, the Bastet 2.0? I gotta be honest, this is no slouch either, and once again, another big upgrade from what I had. Just quickly on shipping times, building process, everything was super smooth during shipping, shipped quickly. The building process was very simple if you have a 35mm socket. If you don't, you're gonna have to go buy one, because that's the only way you're getting the back support onto the machine. You have to tighten it pretty tight, and I didn't have one. It was a quick little pickup at Home Depot, but definitely feel like if you're gonna ship something out, you should have at least something in there to be able to build it with, even if it's not the most efficient thing. But once it's built, this thing is a tank. It is extremely, extremely durable. I love the rubber feet on the bottom of it. That adds a lot of resistance against like sliding on the floor when you're pushing really hard. The height is very nice, especially for someone like me. The vinyl, I noticed as well, much better than your typical like budget bench. I'm really able to like dig in, and I'm not sliding anywhere on the bench while I'm using it, which is very nice. I love the fact that it goes decline. I think that's, I want to say 8% decline, which is a little more than what I typically had, and it makes a big difference. Decline Smith machine bench is one of my favorite exercises, so being able to do that on this is very nice. And one of the most important features is the pin that releases the top headpiece and then turns it into a chest supporting piece, or I like doing isolated dumbbell curls on it. There's a lot of different options you can do with this functionality, and this isn't just like a new gimmick or a fad. There's a lot of really usable stuff you can do with this feature. I also like how the pin goes all the way through the machine. It is very, very durable. I put all my weight on it, plus 75 pounds in each hand for rows. No issues at all there. And when you're done using the bench, all you have to do is lift it straight up. It has that little kickstand on the back. Doesn't wobble very much at all. I feel very confident putting it next to like a TV in my gym, knowing that it's not gonna go anywhere. And so that makes it really nice to store as well. Now, once again, I don't think anything's perfect in this world, and this bench aligns with that precisely. There are some small issues, right? I think the gap when it's straight down flat is a little big. It could be smaller. I think I've seen benches be smaller. And then when you go to lift it up, you can't lift up the back of the bench all the way and have the seat pad lifted up all the way. There's just not enough gap there. There's not enough room there to do both. It does make the gap in those movements very tight, but you kind of struggle if you want to get all the way straight up and have the seat propped up, which I kind of like to do for like pec flies and stuff like that. You're not able to do that on this bench. But honestly, that's really the only major con. There aren't as many adjustment points on the incline as I would have liked. There's a ton on the decline, but there's not as many as I would have liked to see on the incline. Not a deal breaker by any means. The main ones are there, but all around, if I had to nitpick something, it would be that there's just not quite as much as I'd like. Now, another con, the wheels definitely could be a little better. I find myself getting caught up when I'm trying to wheel this around some places. They're just a little small, they're plastic, and definitely could have used a little more re-engineering to make them a little beefier, considering the bench itself is so beefy. So all around, once again, a very nice, good upgrade to my home gym setup. By the way, the bench pricing right now is about $440, and that's on the Mikolo website. Like I said, this stuff is on Amazon as well. You can check multiple different places, but I also will have, like I said, the Mikolo link down below. So definitely check it out there first, and then compare once you get the discount codes and everything to see which one's actually gonna be cheaper. But I gotta be honest, I say no to so many of these companies who wanna send me out stuff and have me like review and look at their equipment, because I just know it's not gonna be worth it. I am very happy. One, I went with my instinct. I knew Mikolo was a pretty solid brand. I didn't know it was gonna be as nice, as well built, and as functional as it is, both the bench and the rack, and I'm super, super happy with my decision to build this thing and to be using it every day. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have any questions that I didn't get to cover in this video. I feel pretty well versed in this machine or in all-in-one racks in general at this point. So if you got any questions, leave them in the comments down below. But for this video, I might just go hit a workout right now, and I'll have to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
This the anthem. If you rockin' with it, put your hands up.